and it looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Rolosky is your champion. Dżej Dżej splits the middle, gets past both drivers. Oh, I hope you enjoyed a little 10-minute break there. I needed that break. I had to get something to drink. I had to grab a quick snack, and I had to just relax over what we just saw from that Split 2 racing. Lots of really relaxed racing. Strategy seemed to play the big point. Nobody knew when the rain was going to hit, and then when it did hit, it was too little too late, but we saw some almost amazing moments hit through. Welcome everybody to Split 1 here in FRL Round 3, the Emilia Romagna GP. Imola, simpler way to say it. Hope everybody's having a good day. If you joined us for Split 2, you saw some great racing. Fryderyk, thank you so much for commentating with me. Great debut of commentary from Fryderyk, a very knowledgeable driver, Aston Martin Split 1 driver. Very knowledgeable, very understanding of what it takes to be a strong FRL driver. So it was really, really nice to get his feedback. Same text, I do miss you though. Come back and race sometime, please. But it was really nice to kind of get to relax and see what his knowledge was. He told me some things I didn't know. For example, like, you can run soft to hards on this track. I didn't know that. Turn 12 is really dangerous, which I did know, but we got to see a lot of turn 12 victims there in Split 2. Not as many safety cars as we thought, though. So I think that is going to play a big point here. I think it'll be really interesting to kind of see what the drivers bring and what their game plan becomes for qualifying, because we watched a lot of drivers run through qualifying laps there during Split 2 and kind of be comfortable and run through. 1:14.6 was our pole time, but I know Dżej Dżej has put in a stronger time than that, so it'll be really interesting to see kind of where that goes. As far as your drivers and constructors championship here for Split 1, Żelazny and Tazo running 1-2 right now, putting Mercedes on a pedestal that Mercedes has never been on in FRL. This is the most successful season that Mercedes has had up to this point. And then Ferrari, Dżej Dżej, Rolosky, both DNFing last race, unfortunately, which isn't something I think they expected. So it's very interesting to see what they bring to the table here for this race. I know Dżej Dżej really likes this track. Looking at constructors though, Alfa Romeo, Insidious and 29 Balu. 29 Balu throwing Alfa Romeo on his back with 2 third-place finishes in the first 2 races. So he's definitely pushing to try to get things through. His teammate Insidious, P16, then P6, strong driving going through from him. Alpine, Graxent, and now Jack. Jack is now back as a full-time racer. He's ran reserve the first couple races. He's now back in full-time here in Alpine. So P7, P10, his first 2 races, going through. A lot of the drivers are excited. A lot of the drivers aren't. I don't really know where to pin it. Predictions for me, I'm thinking 2 safety cars. And I don't know, to be honest. I had predictions for Split 2 that got completely thrown out the window, so my predictions are nowhere to be seen. But it's going to be exciting whatever we do, so it doesn't make a difference, really. Drivers are getting ready up here for qualifying, and I don't know what their strategy is going to be. Weather, again, I said it in the Split 2 stream, weather always plays a part here in FRL, so it'll be Very, very fun to see what weather does for the drivers here, and very fun to see where weather kind of hits them and if it causes any crazy changes. So stick around, have fun. You're going to love it. It's FRL. It's always a good time. So if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. Be more than happy to answer them as I can, of course. Looking at the action here. I don't really know what's about to happen. I'll be brutally honest. I don't really know what's about to happen. So wish I had more to tell you, but after split 2 through everything I thought out the window, I have nothing to throw on hand here. So as it looks like the drivers are getting ready for qualifying, we'll get ready to tune in and see how they bring things around. Get everything kind of queued up and ready to go here. I don't see any drivers immediately trying to make a run out, so all right, there you go. Now you can actually see the screen.
Do you want to try to sludge?
All right, here we go. Lots of drivers going out on track early. It looks like the first driver to be out is BartheZ there in P. Well, it says P19. It doesn't really make a difference. I do see Rolosky and Fryderyk are going to opt for mediums. We talked to Fryderyk during Split 2 about his qualifying ideas, and he likes to go out mediums, softs, then another push on softs. Of course, if you're new to FRL, it is just one 18-minute qualifying session, and then a 50% race, which around Emilia here is going to be 32 laps. So should be fun to watch and see how everything goes through. Looking around here, BartheZ is going to be the first driver to put in a lap. I'm so used to seeing Rolosky and AlphaTauri. I'm trying to get used to seeing Rolosky in red. Turn right here. This is the section that is going to make or break so many drivers, qualifying and race. Turn 12 is going to be detrimental to some of them. So that'll be the one we kind of stick around on and watch to see if anyone has anything crazy happen. But first time lap coming around is going to be from BartheZ, so we'll stay on board with him here as he starts his lap. The only one DRS straight, of course, on the main straight, so passing is a little bit more difficult, but if you can get a strong run through, it's easier to make a good pass going around. BartheZ looks really strong coming through this first sector. I really like the look of his car. 24.5 for the first sector. Good time so far. We'll see how he handles turn 12 coming up, of course. Aqua Minerale, little loose, but not horrible. Going through a 55 in the middle sector. Good time still, though. Not horrible in any way, shape, or form. Very strong time there from BartheZ. Of course, an FRL rookie here as well, so interesting to watch and see where he places himself here. We'll see what his first out time is, and it looks like BartheZ's first time out is gonna throw him in at a 1:15.8, so easily a second and some change off the pace. Crazy Boy sets your next lap time here, and it looks like Graxent has already retired from the session there. BartheZ puts in a 1:15. We'll jump on board with Hin Lok as he comes around with a 1:15.2. Great time coming out from him, and it looks like DEBE is going to retire from the session as well, being caught out and retiring there early. We're going to jump here with Dżej Dżej, the favorite for this run is a very fast driver, and it looks like Dżej Dżej and Rolosky playing the team game here. Rolosky has 1 lap now on his tires. Dżej Dżej up at a P2 with a 1:14.813 for his first time out. So Żelazny with a 1:14.4, so Żelazny a little bit faster than Dżej Dżej currently, but first lap's in here. It's still plenty of time to see what times can be thrown out here. Tazo here going around on his flying lap. I believe he invalidated his first lap, so he's having to do a second push going around. Coming around here, turn 12 is what I'm really scared of for a lot of these drivers. Insidious coming around looking really strong going through his race. Insidious coming over the hill here into the final couple of corners. We'll see what time Insidious puts in for his first flying lap. Żelazny over the 1:14.4. I can't get over how good of a time that is as Insidious comes around. Final corner, Insidious first time is going to be a 1:16.2. Puts himself into P10. Around a second and a half off of the pace. But first time's coming in here. And nothing that bad, to be honest with you. 29 Balu coming around into the middle sector here. One of the only couple of drivers who hasn't set a time. Of course, Graxent and DEBE are both going to be starting from the rear there, as it looks like they both DNF'd out. I didn't see what happened to them. I'm curious to know. Going around here, chicane. You can see how hard the drivers mount the curbs going through there. And from what Fryderyk was saying in Split 2 stream, you have to mount those curbs in order to make that corner as effective as possible. '29 Balu comes around and sets himself into P7 with a 1:15.58. Barely off of Rolosky's pace on mediums, so Rolosky showing some scary promise going around here. Fryderyk out on a flying lap now, his first flying lap. He is coming through the middle sector. We're going to jump on board with him and see exactly how he holds coming through the middle sector here. When he came through turn 12, you could see Bartosz's teammate there was spun around. Fryderyk coming around looking like a very strong time that the Aston Martin driver is about to put in. He puts in a 1:15.0 and puts himself into P3. Fryderyk, of course, telling us during Split 2 that he does really like this track, and you can see it shows by the times he's putting in. Very competitive up at the front of the field here for the beginning of this qualifying here. Lots of drivers on outlaps. It looks like Żelazny going out on a fresh set of soft compound tires. And Crazy Boy opting for a set of mediums. Dżej Dżej on fresh mediums. Żelazny, I think, is doing a lap on the same softs he just had. But it looks like him and his teammate Tazo are right there beside each other. And Żelazny, the championship leader, looked like he was going to start a lap, and I think he had to back out of it there. Dżej Dżej, though, coming up into the middle sector, looking really good. Going around looking very strong, actually, coming through turn 12. So we'll see if Dżej Dżej can improve on his 1:14.8 to get a little bit better of a time here. Coming around final sector, he might have been a little loose. Coming around, push to the line, and he puts in a 1:14.5. Still not good enough for P1, but does improve. Jack, wanted to mention up into P4 with a 1:14.7. Welcome back to FRL, Jack. Full-time driver. Rolosky around on a push lap here. Currently in P10, not a representative time coming in from the Ferrari driver, who is your defending champion, as he goes purple in the middle sector, looking extremely strong coming around. Down into the final two corners here. There's technically three corners, but we only call it the final two because that third corner is just a kink in the straightaway. We don't really count it. Coming around final ways, and what is Rolosky going to put up for a time? Rolosky gets himself into provisional second place with a 1:14.507, beating his teammate by 7/100ths of a second. Very, very impressive from the championship leader. And it looks like Fryderyk has found himself off the strategy of the rest of the field as he's on an outlap while it looks like most people are on inlaps. So Fryderyk putting himself in a very advantageous position with 6.5 minutes left here in your split one qualifying. Looking like he may be in a very good spot as he starts his flying lap. Coming here into the first corner. Of course, this is the infamous place where Valtteri Bottas and George Russell crashed on a wet Imola track. So I wonder if we're going to see anything like that here. I'm not sure what the weather is supposed to do, but hopefully the weather gives a little bit. And you can see Frederik's teammate Bartosz right there in front of him, giving him a little bit of a tow. Fryderyk, it looks like, had really good rotation through that corner. And Fryderyk backing out of his lap. I wonder if he's just not happy with it at that point, or what his plan was there. I don't think he was happy with the lap, so he went ahead and backed out of it. Żelazny out on another push lap with 5.5 minutes to go, or on another outlap, sorry. Hin Lok out on an outlap as well. Bax has done a push lap in a 1:15.1 going through. It doesn't look like... Looks like Bartosz may be out on a push lap as well. Coming around final couple of corners here. Bartosz is going to put in a 1:15.5. Bartosz gets himself up into P13. Looking really strong. Żelazny on his push lap coming through to the start of the middle sector. Looking really, really good coming through the middle sector there for the Mercedes driver. Coming around the final couple of corners, we'll see what time he puts in. It looks like he's on a very, very good lap here. And he is going to put in a 1:14.2. and submit his P1. 4 minutes left to go, so I don't think he'll have enough time to get into the pits, change tires, and then go on another push lap. So that may give Rolosky and Dżej Dżej the advantage, as they're both... As Dżej Dżej is still in the pits, but Rolosky is just now on his outlap, so Rolosky may have an opportunity here to steal pole from Żelazny if they can hold things together. We talked about it during Split 2 that it's not all about your qualifying pace, though. You have to be able to convert through the races. Which Żelazny, with 2 second places in a row, really seems like he has solid pace. Same with 29 Balu, 2 third places in a row. So both of these drivers look extremely strong, as we are going to follow Rolosky here as he starts his flying lap. Looking extremely strong. A little bit of traffic there on the right side from one of the Haas drivers. I believe that was Bax, but Bax stays well out of the way. Following Rolosky here through the first sector, looking extremely strong. And Rolosky pushing a little bit harder and spins it. That is going to be Rolosky's qualifying over, so we will see if any other drivers improve. But unfortunately for the Ferrari driver, that is going to be all she wrote. No opportunity for Rolosky to improve on Żelazny as he gets loose coming there out of turn 5, trying to put things all on the track. And unfortunately for him, that means leaving bits of carbon fiber on the track there, coming through 5 and 6, going into 7. Tazo out on a push lap himself now, coming through, and he gets a little bit into the gravel, but holds on to it. Coming around, throws it into turn 7 there. Looking great so far from the Mercedes driver. Dżej Dżej has now started his outlap, and with just 2 minutes to go in qualifying, this means Dżej Dżej gets one opportunity to put himself into P1, and he needs to find 0.3 of a second in order to improve any. Tazo is going to be looking to improve and try to beat Rolosky's 1:14.5 in order to make it a Mercedes 1-2 front row. It sounds like I'm commentating on real F1 now. I'm talking about Mercedes in the front row. Coming around here for Tazo. It looks like Tazo has bailed out of this lap, as it looks like he let, I believe it was Fryderyk by at that moment. Yep, so Tazo not actually setting a lap there and letting Fryderyk by. Fryderyk on what's going to be his final push lap with 1:16 left in the session, unless he were to go for back-to-back push laps for any reason. So Fryderyk is going to be the one to kick off these final flying laps here in your qualifying session. 1 minute left, so if drivers aren't starting their push laps now, they're not going to start one. You can see Fryderyk leaving it all on the track as he comes through turn 7 here. Getting as close to track limits as he dares. Coming around here into turn 9. And Fryderyk not happy with his lap, so he backs out of it and just lets it go and lets Tazo by. Tazo, of course, on another flying lap. So Tazo is going to be putting in a time. Dżej Dżej's right behind him, though, by a couple cars. So Dżej Dżej could steal everything here from Mercedes and throw Ferrari up into the front row into provisional pole. Currently, it's Żelazny on provisional pole. Żelazny going to be starting a flying lap right about now. Noda retiring from the session. Noda... I'm not sure where Noda lost it, or if Noda lost it on track. In seconds to go here, Tazo is going to be putting in a time, and Tazo is going to be putting in a 1:14.9, not able to prove here. Dżej Dżej invalidating his lap time, so Dżej Dżej over and stuck in P3 there. Żelazny doesn't even have to set a lap to improve, but he's going to purple in the first sector currently. So we'll see if he holds onto this lap or if he decides to back out. But Żelazny showing some obnoxious pace here in the Mercedes. I'm not sure how he is flying the way he is, but it's absolutely impressive. Looks like a lot of drivers losing it all on the track here. Żelazny has backed out of this lap, so that means for Żelazny, pole position secured for him. Rolosky in P2. P3 is Dżej Dżej. P4 is going to be Tazo. P5 Hin Lok. For P6 Noda after retiring. Jack in P7. P8 BartheZ. P9 Mattey. Kepa in P10. Fryderyk going to come around in P11, but can Fryderyk improve himself anywhere? Fryderyk goes up into 4th place and knocks Tazo down. What a lap from Fryderyk there on a second flying lap. Barely had the time and he was able to put it in and get a very strong lap out. Minute 30 left in this qualifying session. It looks like Tazo is going to be the final driver here to cross the line and finish off qualifying. And with that, that is going to be your qualifying locked in here. Żelazny showing strong time. Rolosky 2.5 tenths back. Dżej Dżej 3 tenths back. Fryderyk throwing himself into P4 on a track that he does enjoy with an amazing time there. Hin Lok in P6. 29 Balu in P7. Noda in P8. Jack in P9. BartheZ, Mattey, Kepa, Bax, TrueHERO. Going through the rest of the field, it looks like finishing off your qualifying grid is Bartosz, Insidious, Crazy Boy, 80 Gamer, Graxent, and then DEBE, who both did not get to set times due to crashing when they went to start their times. I'm going to leave you with a time trial here coming in from Dżej Dżej of a 113, and then we'll be back with you whenever the race is ready to begin. And here we are back with your formation lap. Looking at tire strategy here. Looks like for tire strategy, pit stop strategy is either a one-stop soft to hard or a two-stop soft medium. But we saw a lot of varied strategy play out in split 2, so it should be interesting to see what split 1 can put together here. But looking at your strategy, top 10 drivers are on softs. P11, P12, Mattey and Kepa are going to be on the mediums, and then backs through Insidious on the softs. Crazy Boy and 80 Gamer on mediums. Graxent on softs, and DEBE is going to opt for the long run and start on hards. And it looks like he's going to be planning on finishing on softs. Żelazny, though, on a formation lap, you would think it's a time trial lap because he is leaving just no space there and just flying. Looking here as the grid begins to form up, Żelazny going to be taking his position here into P1. Rolosky and Dżej Dżej P2 and P3. So Ferrari going to be all over Żelazny trying to get an early pass done. We'll ride on board with Dżej Dżej for the start of this race. as the drivers do their final forming up here. Fryderyk in P4, though. Again, a driver who said he likes this track, so it should be interesting to see what Fryderyk does here on this track. Waiting on the final drivers to grid up. The Haas is taking their time to come around. As the last driver to form up is going to be Crazy Boy, and we are going to run this start on board with Dżej Dżej. And drivers are all locked in. And it's going to be 5 red lights. And we are underway here for the Emilia Romagna GP here. And it looks like Dżej Dżej and Rolosky. Rolosky not getting a good start at all. Dżej Dżej getting a great one going through. And you can see absolute carnage back in the backfield, though. Żelazny running a little wide there, trying to hold on to his position. You can see Fryderyk gets shoved off the track there, going with Rolosky and Tazo. And you can see back in the midfield, absolute carnage. But Dżej Dżej getting well underway here. Tazo and Fryderyk battling it out here, and it looks like Tazo is going to have a dive around the outside, but not be close enough, so it looks like that's going to open up for 29 Balu, who's having a peek around the inside, and it looks like TrueHERO losing out big time, spinning in the first sector, so McLaren not having a good start to the race here. Coming around, though, Żelazny was able to get a little bit better of a jump there, and it looks like Bax is going to have a penalty already for a jump start. Tazo right behind here on Fryderyk, and will he be able to make a pass as Jack and 29 Balu back in the back are battling it out. 29 Balu losing out 2 positions there on Hin Lok. You can see Jack slinging it over the curbs here. Jack is going to be chasing down Tazo early and fast. Ferrari holding onto their P2, P3, even though they've inverted. So Ferrari are going to be looking to chase down Mercedes and see if they can get any sort of a pass done on-track pace. Great first lap here in split 1 as we see lots of close battles here. Again, AWS pit stop strategy. I don't know why you need to know it 4 times, but there you go, and now you do. If you don't know the pit stop strategy, then you do, and I don't know why you would need it anyways, because safety cars change everything in FRL. Coming around here, 29 Balu is going to try to go around the outside of Bax, and it looks like they almost touch tires there coming around into turn 7, but they keep going. Żelazny not getting near as much of a buildup of a gap as he's wanting to get on Rolosky and Dżej Dżej. Rolosky and Dżej Dżej still staying within a second here on these first couple of laps. DRS will be enabled on the next lap, though, which means that Rolosky and Dżej Dżej, if they can hold on just close enough, could have a great run. And it looks like that is going to be BartheZ who's had a spin in turn 12. Turn 12 claiming its first victim here in split 1 of FRL. Coming around here, lap 3, Rolosky running faster than Żelazny. Half a second the gap now. As Rolosky continues to gain, DRS enabled this lap, but of course DRS only on the main straight, so it doesn't really make a difference as Bax goes into the pit here and serves his penalty for his jump start. Coming around, lots of great battles going on through the field, but Rolosky and Dżej Dżej and Żelazny are going to be the big ones to watch here as we go through. But Crazy Boy currently right behind Mattey and Kepa and trying to make those passes happen as they follow each other around. Crazy Boy in a great position to make a pass here. If he can hold on close enough coming through this middle sector, he could have a great run down the main straight in order to get a pass. Gap starting to open up a little bit, but you can see it looks like Tazo and that would have been Mattey's teammate Kepa both spinning there in the turn 12. Turn 12 claiming more victims. Unfortunately, I didn't see if there was contact or not, but it looks like that is going to be a detriment there for Mercedes and Red Bull's race. Yep, just now getting back going underway, but looking like there is no safety car here into lap 4, as Żelazny now only has around 4/10 of a second the gap on Rolosky. Rolosky trying as hard as he can to chase down the Mercedes driver. Yellow flag for, it looks like 29 Balu spinning out there in the second chicane. And he is going to be back underway, though. No safety car needed again. Half a second the gap now between Dżej Dżej and Rolosky and Żelazny. They are all very close to each other here. And Rolosky might have this opportunity to try to get a run here down the main straightaway. Coming around, Rolosky is going to have DRS on this opportunity, and so is Dżej Dżej. They're going to follow each other straight through. Rolosky closing the gap now. 4/10, 3.5, 3/10, 2.5, 2/10, and he might have the opportunity here going into the first chicane, but he doesn't. Coming around here, Rolosky and Dżej Dżej managing to close the gap up majorly on Żelazny. Żelazny needs to get a move on and try to open up this gap a bit more. Otherwise, he could find himself in some serious trouble later on in the race, depending on how pit strategy goes. Jack as well in P5, only 3.5 there off of Fryderyk, 4/10. The gap's fluctuating just a little bit as the corners go through. Fryderyk has strong corner exit, but it looks like Jack has strong corner entrance. Yep, 3/10. It is possible that Jack can get him on this lap before the DRS even has to happen. Jack coming around, and Jack gets a little loose there coming into the final two corners. But Jack, half a second back, will he have enough of a run in order to get Fryderyk? And it looks like Jack does have enough of a run there, going up into P4 there for Jack. So now Jack can set his sights on chasing down Dżej Dżej, his rival Rolosky, and Żelazny, and trying to secure himself a win here. Żelazny, Rolosky, and Dżej Dżej, though, the gap's extremely close between them, but Jack only has to make up around 4 seconds, which is doable depending on how pit strategy plays out. Looking at Żelazny, Rolosky, and Dżej Dżej here, they are still in a very tight battle. Fryderyk, though, still not falling that far off of Jack. Only around a second or so the gap. It looks like Fryderyk had a little bit of a poor run somewhere, and that is going to drop his gap back. But on screen, we're seeing Żelazny, Rolosky, and Dżej Dżej. 6/10 a second the gap now. Rolosky needs to get a little bit better of a run through the third sector in order to catch up close enough to Żelazny to try to have a lunge at him into the first corner. Jumping back here near the rear of the field, it looks like 80 Gamer and Bax having a very, very tight battle here. The gap, only a 10th of a second going into the DRS zone. So it is totally possible that Bax can have that pass done, and Bax for sure has that pass done and gets a major run going into the first chicane, which means Bax secures that position by nearly half a second before they're out of the first chicane. Looking around here, Imola has really calmed down, a track that overtaking is difficult, so a lot of times you rely on strategy and going through your strategy to see how you can gain positions without having to battle on track, because battling on track on this track can be risky. Jumping back up here, Rolosky now has a great run on Żelazny, and he is going to dive up the inside. He's going to have it, and is Dżej Dżej going to be able to have an advantage here on Żelazny? It looks like Dżej Dżej only 3/10 back, but Rolosky getting himself into the lead here of this Emilia Romagna GP. So it means Rolosky is now going to have to open up and take off. Otherwise, it is completely possible that Żelazny gets his position back. Dżej Dżej 3/10 of a second off of Żelazny. So Dżej Dżej can have a pass done on this lap, but it looks like Dżej Dżej had a little bit poor run there through the middle sector, 11-12. So Dżej Dżej now dropping back to 7/10 of a second. We'll see if Dżej Dżej can gain that up into the third sector and get a pass there on Żelazny in order to secure himself into a 1-2 place. Compared to Split 2, Split 1 has very, very few penalties at the moment, which is really interesting to see and watch. As we run up on the first lap car here, it looks like of Graxent, that is going to be the first car to be lapped here. Going around here, coming through, it does not look like Dżej Dżej was anywhere near close enough in order to get a pass on Żelazny. So for another lap, we're going to have a Ferrari, Mercedes Ferrari podium top three here. Jack and P4, though, gap for Jack is now down to 6 seconds from the top three. So Jack's still a major contender here. I wouldn't count him out in any way, shape, or form yet, as it is possible he may still be able to catch up and get going here. Coming around the final corner here, Dżej Dżej only has 4/10 to make up here on Żelazny. DRS open. Can he get the run going down the straightaway? Of course, Żelazny also has DRS, though, on Rolosky, so Dżej Dżej not being able to get any sort of an advantage going down the straightaway, and the gap is going to hold where it's at, as Rolosky had enough pace in order to hold on to his P1 for another lap. Looks like some weird random desync issues are happening here for me on the timing board, so just ignore the timing board for just a minute. Looks like we are having some desync issues here. Yeah, we're having some serious desync issues here at the moment. Just hold tight with us here as we try to sort it out. Of course, F1 2021, best game on the planet as we try to sort it out. All right, and this is going to be a desync, so we do have procedures in for when there is a desync here in FRL, which means we are going to have a full race restart, which means for you all, I am going to back out to the main menu, and this means we will reset the lobby and run a 25% race, which means you get to look at my face for another minute here as we set things up. So, while we are sorting things out here, looking so far at pace, just from that little preview, Żelazny, major pace. Rolosky and Dżej Dżej, major pace. Really interesting to watch and see exactly what was happening there. A few laps in, and of course, unfortunately, when you're running F1 2021, sometimes these things happen. Last season, we had to cancel a whole race due to desync, and sometimes it happens, so unfortunate. But this is what happens. So I'm going to throw you on to standby, let you all chill out with some music as we get the lobby reset, and we'll be right back with you in just a minute for a second intro, I guess. I'm not for sure. We'll make something exciting happen here with the stream. love this. I love this music. Like, it's so just chill. So, if you're just joining us, lobby desync, major lobby desync, so we're doing a lobby restart, and what that means is we go down into a 25%, and then they have to sort out what the grid order is, where everything's set up, who's going to be where, so admin are trying to sort out who's going to be where, what's happening right now, so we're not sure. We're trying to catch up on exactly what was happening and where people are going to be. It looks like admin have decided that grid order is as of lap 9. So I don't remember who was where on lap 9, but should be interesting to kind of watch and see how the drivers react to the race going down to just a 25%, which means they'll be doing 16 laps here. I think that was about where we were anyways. We are around the halfway point, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference. But looks like grid is getting ready to go, everything's going back underway, so it looks like grid's set back up. Oh, and free tire choice, so some of these drivers are going to get lucky. However, they still have to do one pit stop, so free tire choice, we'll see who decides to do what here. Of course, game desyncs when Ferrari is doing good. Why wouldn't it desync? I mean, let's be honest, Mathix. F1 2021, best game ever made. Anyways, lobby kicking off. 16 laps of action here for everyone. I don't know if there's a formation lap or not. That's one that I didn't think to think about. Mathix, we miss you, man. I know you had to leave the season. Jack took your place, but we still miss you. 40 races. Crazy. All right. So, there is a formation lap, and if I seem unsure of what's going on, it's because I haven't actually been here for this before, so I wasn't sure how this worked, but I'm glad to see how this works. So, looking through, Crazy Boy disqualified from the formation lap. Rolosky in P1, Żelazny in P2, Dżej Dżej in P3, so this is as of lap 9 in what we were running, depending on if we were desynced or not. So, but it's what the admins stick with, so I do what the admins say. Pit stop strategy, soft to medium or soft to hard. Looks like a lot of drivers are doing medium, so we're going to see some medium to soft. I don't expect to see the hard tire here unless there's an early safety car. So, should be interesting to see what goes through. Where things go. My Discord isn't in streamer mode, which is rare for me. So sorry about that. And I can't get Discord to open on the formation lot for some reason. That's a problem. There we go. So now we can go into this. Awesome. So, sorry about that. I love to forget to do things for some reason. Wouldn't be FRL without it, would it? So, coming in here, setting up for a 25% shootout, we are going into what should be fun, and I am going to ride on board with Jack for this restart because I am curious what Jack is going to pull out of the hat here. As the top three of the grid come in, Jack fell back on the formation lap. Looks like he's going to be looking to get a little bit more heat on his mediums. So, anyone got some last second predictions? Because I have no clue what's about to happen here. Chaos? Turn 1 chaos? Anybody? Anybody ready for some turn 1 chaos? Because I'm ready for some turn 1 chaos. Now, and for the second time here in Split 1, 5 red lights, and we are underway for the second take here of your Emilia Romagna GP. And you can see that Jack gets away well. Żelazny has a horrible takeoff there, which means Jack is going to jump up into P3 there, and Fryderyk is going to jump him too. Absolute carnage coming into turn 1, and Tazo has retired. Oh, and you could see major carnage back in the back. Crazy boy out. Tazo is out, and lots of drivers getting caught up on that. And we have a VSC before lap 1 can even happen, and it is immediately upgraded to a safety car. Woo! 3 corners in and carnage in the background. I have no clue what just happened, but that was scary. That scared me a little bit. Safety car out, and Żelazny is a huge loser from that. Down into P4 after what was an extremely poor takeoff. Jack with a crazy takeoff, though. That was something else. Wow. That was carnage. I'm a little speechless because I don't know what just happened, to be honest. Anyways, lap 1 is 16, and safety car is deployed. The first safety car here, unless you count the desync. Apparently there was a safety car under desync. I don't know if we're counting that or not. So, first safety car here in round 3 of split 1 of FRL here. And Rolosky and Dżej Dżej, the big gainers here. We're going to see who got what. Mattey down 7 positions. Crazy Boy and Tazo just absolute chaos. I don't know if someone's brake pedal didn't work or what happened there, but that was rough. So, looks like a few drivers opted to pit there and go ahead and get their pit stops out of the way. TrueHERO onto a set of softs. So, he thinks he can make his softs last 14 laps. Should be interesting to see what happens there. This desync and now this lap 1 carnage, I'm a little flabbergasted is what just happened, to be honest. But I will tell you who's not flabbergasted. Jack, Dżej Dżej, or Rolosky. Very happy to be in the positions they're in currently. As we look here, Rolosky and Dżej Dżej, P1-2, Jack P3, Żelazny P4, Fryderyk and Bartosz P5-6, Hin Lok P7, 80 Gamer P8, Kepa and P9, DEBE and P10, Noda P11, BartheZ 12, Graxent 13, Mattey 14, Bax 15, 29 Balu and P16, TrueHERO, and then Insidious as we roll under safety car here. Absolute carnage. Turn 1, chaos. We got through the first turn 1 with no issues. Second time, I knew something was going to happen. But strategy, nobody wants to pit yet. Some of the people in the back did pit, and I think that's going to play to their advantage here later into the race. Stream is running a little bit longer than normal, but it's not too bad here. Coming around here. I don't know who has better pace or better defense, JJ or Rolosky. Because I wonder if the Ferraris are going to try to swap and who has the better defending. And if that may be something that they look into. All right, and we are back underway here for the Emilia Romagna GP, or Imola here, and you can see it looks like Żelazny or Bartosz way off the road there, back in the back. It looks like Fryderyk actually dropping away there. So Żelazny back up into P4, Bartosz into P3, JJ getting very unlucky there. I missed exactly what happened to him, but getting very unlucky. So, looking around here, Rolosky into P1, Jack P2, Bartosz in P3. P4 Żelazny, P5 Fryderyk, and it looks like things are starting to heat up and calm down at the same time. JJ, I'd missed how he got into P10, but it looks like he is absolutely trying to send it there around Noda and DEBE, who are battling it out. And it looks like JJ takes advantage of Noda getting around and just follows Noda right through. Thank you very much. And coming around the chicane here, it looks like JJ's going to have a major run. Looking up front here, Rolosky has ran away. A 1:17.2 fastest lap at the Grand Prix. Jack 1.8 seconds back and slowly gaining going down the straightaway. But it looks like Rolosky just has great runs through the third sector, I believe. Bartosz in P3. Żelazny in P4 there. 3/4 of a second back on Bartosz. We'll see if he can get that run up and get around here and get himself back into the podium paying places. Of course, none of the penalties reapplied that drivers had earned from the first race before the desync, which, if your other drivers you're super happy about. JJ spinning out there, coming out of turn 7. Unfortunate for the Ferrari driver. Just absolute bad luck, it looks like. Coming around here, Żelazny, 4/10, half a second back on Bartosz, and it looks like Żelazny isn't going to get the run on this lap. JJ spinning out there in turn 12 now. Just so unlucky for the Ferrari driver. Someone who goes so fast at this track, and now he is back just nowhere to be seen at this point. We'll see if a safety car can play into his hands and help him get back up near the front. But at the moment, he is so far behind. BartheZ diving into the pits now, and Kepa diving into the pits now as well. I would not be surprised if we see JJ dive into the pits to get rid of those mediums that have probably overheated, or if he got damage from anywhere. We'll take a peek and see. It looks like he keeps going, though. Jack, 2 seconds off of Rolosky, and Bartosz, 2 seconds off of Jack at the moment. But Bartosz has some major company there of Żelazny and Fryderyk sticking right behind him here. 10 laps to go in this Emilia Romagna GP. And Żelazny to Fryderyk to Bartosz, only around 3/10, but Bartosz makes a little bit of mistake there going through turn 12, and that means Żelazny closes it down to 2/10 now. And it looks like through the chicane, Bartosz is extremely slow. Żelazny had to check up there, and it looks like he's down to 4/10 back now, which may play into Bartosz's hand. Coming around the final couple of corners here, and Żelazny is going to have the advantage of DRS going down this straightaway. Can Bartosz hold on to this position here of P2 now, as Jack dives into the pits to get off of his medium compound tires. And it looks like Żelazny and Bartosz are going to run side by side here down the straightaway. And it looks like Żelazny thought he had the run. Bartosz tried to stick a nose up the inside. Bartosz now on the outside, and it looks like he is not able to hold it together there. Bartosz and Fryderyk down in P3-4. Fryderyk thinking about looking up the inside of his teammate, as Bartosz is slower, but it looks like Bartosz does not concede the position. So Żelazny up into P2. Now Fryderyk and Bartosz invert there, as it looks like Noda is going to have a look around getting Bartosz as well, and Noda sure does. Bartosz dropping from P2 into P5, but not done there, trying to get back past Noda at the moment, and also trying to defend Hin Lok at the moment. You lose one position here at Imola, you lose 4 or 5 if you've got a close battle like this one. So you have to hold on to all the positions you can. Żelazny, a 5-second gap he has to make up on Rolosky here in P2. Of course, none of the front 8 drivers have pit yet, so that means they are still due for a pit stop here. When they pit, I am not sure, but they will definitely be running long and trying to go on to softs, or the soft runners are going to have to go on to mediums, which means the softs are probably due to pit any time now here. DEBE diving into the pits. I will presume him and Hin Lok both in the pits. They're going to go on to soft tires, I would imagine, for this short 8-lap sprint, as we're halfway through here on this Imola GP. Looking here, Fryderyk half a second off of Żelazny. 6/10, 80 gamer DNFing there in the middle sector. I don't know what, or in the first sector. I don't know what happened to him there. But it looks like he may have had some contact with someone, and that is going to be the second safety car out. For those drivers that just pit, this is going to be unfortunate for them, but for the drivers up in the lead, this is going to be great, because this will open up an opportunity for them to take a pit stop and not lose any track position. And it looks like as far as pits go, Rolosky, Żelazny, Fryderyk, Noda, Bartosz, all of the top drivers opting to go into the pits. Rolosky going on to a fresh set of softs here to finish up the race. And it looks like a lot of drivers are going to follow his lead there. Żelazny, Fryderyk having to go into mediums, and Noda having to go into mediums, of course. Bartosz onto a set of mediums. TrueHERO onto softs. So lots of things mixing up. But Mattey, who has pit once, is now up into P1 on a fresh set of mediums. So having it pit a little bit earlier may play to his advantage there. And 29 Balu, who's done 2 stops, up into P2. But all of your grid has pit now, which means that what you see is what the positions are. Of course, Mattey has that 5-second penalty he needs to serve, but if he can build up a gap here and run till the end, it is possible that he could hold on to P1 here. Lap 9 of 16 here with a safety car out, and it looks like Rolosky, though, and Jack and Żelazny are going to have some strong tire advantage on Mattey and 29 Balu. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how these last 7 laps play out. Safety car is going to be out for one more lap. Coming around here, I don't know what the best strategy would be at this point, honestly. Like, I really couldn't tell you what the best strategy is for these drivers. Just looking, because if you're Mattey, you're just gonna have to send it at this point and hope that you can catch 29 Balu off guard. If you're 29 Balu and you know you have those fast drivers behind you, Rolosky, Jack, Żelazny, you're gonna have to defend for your life at this point. And really hope that you can hold on to it. Surely safety car will be in this lap. And FIA says safety car in this lap as they come around the final chicane. So, goes Mattey, 29 Balu, Rolosky, Jack, Żelazny. Rolosky needs to get a strong run here to try to secure P1 early and try to build up a gap while the other cars fight with traffic. This is going to be really interesting to watch play out here into these last few laps. So don't go anywhere. 6 laps to go here as we come across the line. And Mattey is going to be in the lead. Rolosky there under pressure by Jack. Jack has a strong run coming through. Jack's going to stick his nose up the inside. And it looks like 29 Balu there is going to block him a little bit, though, as 29 Balu was trying to have his own run on Mattey. Jack up into P4 there. And it looks like TrueHERO falling way down the grid as TrueHERO has now DNF'd and wrecked. They're out of the first chicane. 4 drivers DNF'd out of this race now, and it looks like Mattey, though, holding on to that P1, 29 Balu in P2, Rolosky in P3, trying to chase them down, and Jack in P4, putting immense pressure onto Rolosky. Żelazny right behind Jack, so Jack knows he needs to run away. Fryderyk might be able to make a run on there, though, and 29 Balu gets spun there in turn 12. I don't think he had contact, but that opens up a lot of things to happen at once here as Rolosky is now up into P2, Jack into P3, but Żelazny right behind him there as it looks like Fryderyk and Noda both get passed there by backs. Fryderyk and Noda now swapping positions again here. Jack in P3 trying to chase down Rolosky and Mattey. And Żelazny only 0.3 off here, trying to chase down Jack, and it looks like Jack has superior straight line speed as Jack is opening up the gap going down the straightaway. No DRS, of course, for 2 laps after safety car, so DRS should be enabled after this lap. 29 Balu and Hin Lok having a very, very strong battle back here in the backfield, trying to still keep my eyes up front, though. Insidious retiring from the session as Insidious wrecks there in the first sector. Coming over here, Mattey with a 3/10 lead there on 9-lap-on mediums. He's just got to hold on until those softs that Rolosky has begin to drop off, and then he can hold on to the tire advantage and hopefully run away with this race. Great run through the chicane there. Great run. And you can see Żelazny, though. We'll jump on board with Żelazny as he is trying everything in his power to get around Jack. But Jack defending and attacking at the same time. Extremely impressive. You can see just how close Jack is there to Rolosky coming through. And, of course, DRS will be enabled after this lap. No DRS here, but DRS at this time next lap as drivers start to put in faster and faster laps. Żelazny with a 1:16.9 fastest lap of the Grand Prix. You can see Rolosky having a dive there. Jack's going to try to follow him through. And Jack isn't able to follow him through, which might spell disaster there. Jack going to do a switchback. Mattey holding his ground, though, and Jack gets the pass done. Żelazny follows him right through, though. So you have Rolosky, Jack, Żelazny, P1, 2, 3 here with 3 laps to go. And Żelazny is going to have to hold on to Jack as tight as he can to try to get a run around in order to finish all of this up. And get himself into P2 and try to have a run at Rolosky. 3 laps, and surely Żelazny can try to make a pass. But Jack, on his debut back as a full-time driver here in FRL, is putting on a masterclass and showing why he's a split-1 driver and why him and Rolosky competed for the championship all of last season. And coming around lap 14, Rolosky sets fastest lap with a 1:16.7 running away here. And it looks like Żelazny and Jack are going to have a little bit. Jack 2/10 off here. Jack coming around. Jack dives it around the outside. Him and Rolosky, though, we know how they battle. They battle very, very hard. And Rolosky holds Jack against the curb. Doesn't give him space. Jack, of course, going to try to dive around the inside here. And Jack and Rolosky almost touch. Trying to switch back. And Rolosky is going to hold him to the curb again. They are right neck and neck coming around. And Rolosky diving it around. Jack has the inside. Jack has not enough drag off the straightaway. They are neck and neck again going through, and this gives me reminders of Baku last season. But Jack is able to slide in the front there and hold Rolosky back, and that means Jack is now into P1 with 2 laps to go here. What a battle going through from Jack and Rolosky, the rivals. Żelazny now in P3 has to get around Rolosky, and we know Rolosky has extremely strong defending skills, but Jack just knows how to attack and get around Rolosky. Jack slings it through here, the chicane, and that is a horrible exit there. Rolosky's going to have another run here on Jack. And Rolosky not diving around the inside here, holding on. He's going to have DRS going down this straightaway, which means that Rolosky could get the run here and take back first place. But Jack is going to be able to defend here. Jack with superior straight line speed. Gap down to 3/10, 2.5, 2/10, 1.5. Jack holding the inside line here, so he has the inside for the corner. Rolosky passed, but not passed enough. Jack is going to slot back in, though, as Rolosky gets the run through, and that is going to put Jack under pressure from Żelazny going into turn 6 and 7 here. But Jack holding on to Rolosky as close as he can here, coming around, and that means that Jack could have another run here going into the final lap. As we see, it looks like BartheZ spinning out after the first chicane. Extreme battles here with just 2 laps to go. Jack trying to secure himself into P1 on this race. Żelazny trying to get himself back in. Żelazny only a 1/10.5 off there of Jack and Rolosky. Such a great battle here for first place with just a few laps to go. And Jack's going to dive it around the outside here after the DRS detection. So that means Jack's going to have DRS, but he's also trying to get the run here so that way he can have the lead and have DRS to build this gap. And DRS open, but Rolosky got the DRS there. And Żelazny has a touch there on Jack, and that means Żelazny up into the lead here, and Rolosky trying to defend it, not able to. Rolosky gets loose, it gets into the gravel, Rolosky falls back, and that means Rolosky is going to drop out of the podium places. So this is now a battle from Jack and Żelazny for this final place. Coming around here, Jack has a great run, 2.5 tenths. Jack gave up the DRS on the straightaway, which is going to cost him immensely. Is it going to cost him the win, though, as they come around turn 7 here? Great run, but Żelazny has a better run, and that means that Żelazny is going to build this gap here. 4 tenths, 3.5, 3 tenths. Jack with amazing speed, but doing a little poor through the corners. Going through, and you can see Rolosky dropping back into P4, but Rolosky might battle it back up into P3. Jack having a horrible run there through P12, and that is going to possibly spell all she wrote for him for his win. Going around, coming through the final chicanes here before the final 2 turns, and you can see Rolosky right on the back of backs. And Jack coming around here. Żelazny, after a great last lap pass, double pass there, even though a little bit of contact with Jack, but getting around their final corner, Żelazny is going to come across the line, and Żelazny is going to win the Emilia Romagna GP here in FRL, and that means that Żelazny secures a tighter grip on the Drivers' Championship here with Jack in P2, Rolosky P3, Bax in P4, Graxent 5, DEBE 6, Fryderyk down into P7, Noda 8, Mattey, Hin Lok 29, Balu, Dżej Dżej after a horrible start, Kepa BartheZ, and that is going to be all she wrote for split 1 here of FRL. And Żelazny with a great double pass there after it looked like he couldn't get out of P4. Getting himself up into first place there. What a great run. And then Jack, of course, welcome back to FRL, sir. Jack up in podium places, still doing great. So that is going to be your split 1. Żelazny, Jack, Rolosky after a poor run there in turn 1 on the final lap, costing him immensely. Bax, Graxent, DEBE, Fryderyk, Noda, Mattey, Hin Lok, 29, Balu, Dżej Dżej, Kepa, BartheZ, Insidious, TrueHERO, 80 Gamer, Crazy Boy, and Tazo. A crazy, crazy series of events there. And that is going to be all she wrote here for Round 3 of FRL. Split 2 was amazing. Split 1, we had a desync issue, but still ended up being an awesome race. I hope everyone enjoyed it, and we hope to see you back next week for Netherlands. Should be an exciting race there. Will Żelazny hold on to P1? Will Rolosky jump him? Can Dżej Dżej show a strong finish of a race? Can Jack get his way back up into competing for the Drivers' Championship? In Split 2, will John Meister hold on? Can Buchik jump up? Will Haas continue to lead the Constructors' Championship with pace and consistency? Only one way to find out. Join us back here at FRL next Sunday.